Hi, I'm Vi, and welcome to Locally. This is going to be a new series where I just share my favourite tunes that I've made this month for Forza Horizon 5. Just a heads up, my driving will be absolutely awful, but it just goes to show that they're decent considering that even my awful driving can still pull out a win in these conditions. The drivatars in the background are expert because I find it's the best balance between rubber banding and actually needing skill to complete the races. So how this will work is I'll just smash through the top three. There might be an honourable mention every so often, but I doubt it as it depends what I've recorded footage for, and as of today it is just the three of them. It will literally be whatever I've tuned that month and what I like the most, so it may be off-roaders, it may be drag cars, it may be circuit racing, I don't know, but that is something that we will just have to find out. So the Pontiac GTO. First up, at number 3. One of my favourite muscle cars. It is genuinely what got me into racing muscle cars in the game, alongside a few models of Camaro that I was made to play for the Forzathon weekly events. The tune that is probably showing in the background is the one that is incredibly quick, but as you'll probably be able to see at some point while I am talking, it isn't exactly the smoothest drive. It's very easy to spin out by accident. It's something that I actually corrected after this was recorded. I extended some of the gears out, and I also made a couple other changes just to try and give it a little bit more stability. Obviously, because it's A-class, I couldn't give it the best tyres in the world, because if anyone's ever tuned old cars, they know that putting half-decent tyres on it immediately kicks it up as far as possible. I think usually if you've got something in D-class, putting even street tyres on will kick it straight up to the middle of B or even A. But it really can't be helped at the end of the day. I mean, this car is truly something that I enjoy driving when I'm not trying to make it not spin out. But it may reappear at some point as a drift build because it's really fun to just drive around in, and I can make it slide really easily without even trying. So imagine what would happen if I could actually make it slide. That will be the interesting thing indeed. But it is time to move on to the next one. So next up is number 2, the Nissan, or Nissan if you're of that kind of persuasion, Titan Warrior Concept, the concept truck. It has been in the last couple Horizon games. I think it was in Horizon 3, but it was definitely in 4 and obviously 5. In 3, I don't remember using it if it was in that game, but in Horizon 4, I used it to get to the top 50 of one of the leaderboards on a cross-country track that I cannot remember in the slightest. Since then, I have completely fallen in love with the car, and it's inevitably made a return as a mainstay in my off-roading roster for this game as well, whenever I need a car to just jump in and do some off-roading. This tune that I've got here is A-class. It's obviously an off-road tune, because what else would you have on a big truck like this? And whenever it's in use, I just love throwing it around corners. It's very zippy. It runs quite a bit of horsepower from what I can remember. I don't have it in front of me as I'm recording the audio separate. And it's also relatively good at maintaining its grip 90% of the time on the dirt and on the road, surprisingly, which isn't the case for a lot of off-road cars. Although given the amount of weight this thing has, it does make sense that it holds its grip quite well. The reason it is probably at number 2 is just because the next car along I had a lot more fun with, both tuning and racing, but it could easily have been number 1 if the next one that's here wasn't actually there. But just a last note on this one is that, again, it's incredibly fun, and I would recommend that anyone picks it up and gives it a go, even if they don't think they will like truck racing, because I didn't think I would like truck racing, and there we go, I love these trucks. And the Alpine A110 1600S, a recent favourite, but with an incredibly low weight combined with the engine swap and the turbo chucked on with a drivetrain swap to all-wheel. It's turned this car into an absolute beast of an off-roader that can throw itself around tight and long bends with relative ease, as much as the gameplay in the background that you're probably looking at isn't showing that, because again, I'm terrible at driving in this game half the time. But it is just a case to keep an eye out for the snaps on the road and the slightly low speeds that come with it. When it comes to road racing, it does not keep up. I've played through the gauntlet many times with this car at this point, and every time you hit the road sections, whatever drivatar is behind you will inevitably catch up, and then you just have to lose them again as soon as possible when you get back onto the dirt. I first picked this up from a wheel spin. I have it in Horizon 4. I never used it for some reason, but in this game it came from a wheel spin, and I've just built it up to be this rallying mainstay that whenever I don't know what to use, if it's a classic rally race or if I just feel like using it, it will be the one that's there. It's ridiculously fast, combined with the ability to throw itself into corners and come out perfectly fine usually. It's an immense thing to use, and it is incredibly fun for me. This tune is S1. It pulls up about 700 brake horsepower with full weight reduction, and just trying to make it as light as possible but also have as much grip as possible, as well as slamming through as much power as possible. I said possible 3 times there, but it just illustrates my point. I think I managed to get this up to 895 if I remember correctly, and couldn't go further, but here it didn't need it. I'd see potentially a drift car that may come up again next month if I decide to build it in that time, although I might actually wait because that would be blatant favoritism at this point, but who knows, it may come up again. I mean, after I've recorded this, honestly, I'm going to go and throw it round the gauntlet again, even though I'm driving terribly today, but it's really fun. I'm going to try and push the tune a little bit more, I think, and see if I can pull out more top speed, but yeah, I think that'll be it for this generally. So I've wrapped up this recording a lot faster than I thought I would have, all things considered, considering that I recorded about 15 minutes worth of footage for everything just in case I needed it, and as it turns out I don't. One thing I forgot to mention in the intro though is that all the share codes should have appeared on screen, as long as some other fancy like graphics and stuff illustrating like class and horsepower and things like that. Depends if I can actually figure out how to do it with my editing software, or if I just decide it can wait till next month, but I will have to see. As far as I know, I should be streaming by the time that this comes out potentially, so if I am, the channel name is practically the same. Actually, yeah, it's the same on Twitch, so if I am on there, I should be playing a grand strategy game rather than Forza, but if you want to come along and say hi, then absolutely feel free. But other than that, I think I will leave it here, so thank you for sitting and watching this, and I hope you have a good day.